Live operates in the greater Kruger National. Safari Live operates in the greater Kruger National Park, South Africa, part of 8.5 million contiguous acres of pristine African wild. Djuma, on the western fringes of this giant reserve, is the beautiful piece of wilderness that we call home. Many of Africa's iconic fauna and flora thrive here. The magnificent animals of Western Kruger have become habituated to humans through 30 years of tracking, viewing, and photographing them.
Just a few meters away.
This is not to say that they are tame in any way.
We don't want to be in the wrong spot.
Safari Live is brought to you through an astonishing array of technical and wilderness wizardry.
There's a trunk coming. Oh, look at the nose! Coming to smell him.
The enormously dedicated team of wildlife filmmakers lives and works in the bush, relishing the challenges that come with broadcasting a high-definition signal live from the African wilderness.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there's no smooth way to do this, okay? But I want you to watch both videos, so here you go.
Hello.
She's jumped on the buffalo. She's right on its back. Gonna get in there now.
The first proper sighting of the Nkukuma cubs after months and months.
This is one of the greatest spectacles on planet Earth. Oh, jeepers!
Whoa! Did you record that?
I am on foot in the middle of the Kruger National Park, one of the largest true wilderness areas left in the world.
This is unbelievable. And we came through here hoping to find her and her mother earlier this morning.
Just an absolute awe to be so close to one of our relatives. Look at that.
Goodness, look at its wobbly legs. Oh, I don't believe it. I can't believe we've actually seen it.
It's a baby chameleon. I hitched a ride on a male lion's mane.
Guys, Bruno's brought a cub to Djuma. So cute.
This is Ellie having a bath.
I must say it's very pleasant to be back in here. Oh, wow. I mean, this is just amazing.
Oh, they're after a scrub hare. They're after a scrub hare. And they've caught it. They've caught it right next to us.
Hippo now biting the zebra. I've never seen anything like this before in my whole life.
That whole Safari Live video just inspired me to fulfill my dream of becoming a safari guide as well.
You guys, how sick is this? What? Too loud. I didn't change anything. It's fine. Are you just what facing because I wasn't muted? High school. Diamond, thank you for the sub. 12 months, you're a bird now, hooray. T, thank you for the 2 months. aka Jay with the 4 months. It's J-Rock with the Twitch Prime, and Quavris with the 4 months. Thank you so much. Tier 3! Quavris with the tier 3 for 4 months. You get a special emote, my friend. Thank you so much. That's insane. I think you're the only one. Hey, there he is. There it is. Dionysus drew that emote. It's actually incredible. So, boys, hello. Hi. Hi. Conservation Cast is back this week. Cyan of Legends. Thank you for the 8 months. Sorry, that took me a bit to read. Hello. El Pirate King for the 8 months. Jeez, guys, my podcast alerts are muted. Why? Our WildEarth today. Probably the most requested podcast that we've had ever since they got on Twitch and you guys started seeing their content. They produce some high quality content on Twitch, and they are doing stuff that I have never seen. I don't know how they do it. I don't understand how it's such good quality. Spoon with the $50. Let's start off strong, shall we? Thank you so much. Let's do it, dude. This is insane. I can't wait to find out how they do it. WildEarth, so they're live on a lot of platforms. They go live on Twitter, they have Twitch, they have TV. Their goal is to bring people closer to nature live, which is so cool. And I'm so excited. We're talking today to Graham Wallington, who is one of the co-founders of our WildEarth. It was Alex with the $1. Thank you so much. It was founded by him and his wife in 2006, and they've been going strong ever since. They have programs for kids. They're super dedicated to helping people to fall in love with nature. We'll talk to Graham more about where your donations are going today. It's already at $51. Thank you so much. How your donations will help this organization to keep doing what they're doing, because they're doing remarkable things on Twitch. So yeah, other quick things to mention before I call Graham up here. We will be doing a quiz today. I don't know how many of you guys have heard about this. I know I actually have talked about it on stream. There will be a quiz at the end of this podcast. Don't worry, there's no repercussions to not doing well on the quiz, but it is most accurate and fastest to answer the question. The same program or the same extension that Nim uses on his stream. So get your Peepo G's out. Yeah, get ready. Take notes. Whoever wins the quiz, if you're not sub hipster with $25 and Botox with $100. All right, boys. Thank you guys so much. At the end of the podcast, the quiz. Whoever wins the quiz, if you're not sub to this channel, I will gift you a sub to my channel. If you are sub to this channel, I will either gift you Earthbound Martian with $100. Oh my gosh, you guys. Earthbound, thank you for the $100. 30th with the 9 months. Cloud with the $10. Not even started, Pog. True. Okay, let me finish. Hold on. Whoever wins the quiz. If you're not sub to this channel, I will gift you a sub to this channel. If you are sub to this channel, I will either gift you a sub to whatever channel you want, a tier 1 to whatever channel you want, or you can ask for me to donate $5 on your behalf to the organization. V Mars, thank you for the Twitch Prime. So, get your Peepo G's out. Get ready. Get ready to listen. We have their live stream all set up in my OBS, which was different. The podcast is a little different. We got a different overlay set up. This one's gonna be different than the norm, but I am so excited. So excited about this one. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and call Graham. You guys know the drill. Give me a second here. More royalty free. By the way, do you guys like this song now? Because I know when we started, it was like, wow, this is so bad, but I love this song now. It's so, like, it makes me happy. It just feels good. Like, I don't know how to say her name. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. I appreciate that. It's a staple of the podcast. True. Spoon. $300 before I've even called Graham. All right, boys. Royalty free. I'll be back in a minute. Anonymous with the $5. Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to monitor only over here. Then I won't listen on the Twitch channel anymore.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right, this is kind of working. Cool. This is the first time I've done a podcast like this, having your live stream on screen, but it looks pretty good. Everything's working so far, guys. I can unmute it so you can hear what's going on here. But yeah, so you heard my introduction, my very brief introduction. But everybody, this is Graham. Claps for Graham. Thank you so much for being here. What time is it for you?
It is currently 6:15 in the morning here in Johannesburg, South Africa.
All right, awesome. So Graham is up early for us. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said to you on our test call, everyone is so excited about this podcast. When did you guys start on Twitch? It's relatively recent, is it?
So it's kind of a crazy story. I mean, we've been broadcasting live. I've been broadcasting live from Djuma Game Reserve since 1998.
That was the year I was born.
we started on Twitch. We actually started on Justin TV many years ago. And then the team from Justin TV created Twitch. And we try to stream onto Twitch right in the beginning, and they said, "Wait a second, we only do gaming." And then we didn't broadcast on Twitch for many years until I think we started doing it in November. November last year is when we began doing it every day.
Wow, so cool. It's gotten a lot of attention recently. I've seen some clips from your channel going up on Reddit, and my community noticed it really fast. You guys are doing something so special and so unique. There's definitely nobody else doing this on Twitch, and let alone other media platforms. But I think everyone was just shocked at the quality of your live stream is incredible. Tito with $5, thank you so much. We're already at $310 in donations, so maybe we should start there. So if you want to tell us a little bit about WildEarth and about what their donations are going to, how that's going to help you guys operate, that would be awesome.
Sure, totally. Okay, so WildEarth is really a purposeful company. We're not a not-for-profit. We're a for-profit company, and we really are on a mission to try to connect as many people around the world with nature as possible. It's a pretty simple mission, but it's a super important one, and we feel that by giving people the opportunity to experience what it's like to be on an African safari, and we do that twice every single day, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, every single day, and we feel that that's really a great way to give people that opportunity to come in and connect with the same animal characters every day if they want to.
Yeah.
And I guess that the reason why the quality is so good is because, well, we're using high definition cameras, but it's really about being able to get that stream off of those safari trucks back to our control room, which is out in the bush, and to do so at a high bandwidth. And we have to do that to be able to deliver to television, and really licensing our programming to television, customers like National Geographic, CGTN, CCTV in China, SABC in Africa, various others, is how we pay for this. But at the moment we don't have a client, so all these donations that are coming in, which are amazing, thank you so very much, goes towards actually keeping these daily game drives, these daily shows, these daily safaris happening. And we also reach a lot of kids, so in schools and in hospitals in the United States. And this all just helps contribute to that and making sure that we can offer this for free to people all over the world.
Yeah, that's so cool. Guys, just a reminder, if you want, you can @ Saito if you have a question. I have this live doc up here. I'm sure there will be plenty. So I saw that you do education programs for kids. What does that look like?
Okay, so basically, it's not actually an education program. I mean,
okay.
It's kind of like that, but it's really about giving kids an opportunity to feel like they're getting this experience out in nature. We don't do an actual curriculum as such because we don't know what we're going to come across. I mean, we're operating in a huge wilderness area, and we just don't know what animals are going to come along. So anyway, what happens is that the teachers, or oftentimes hospitals, we work very closely with the Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. They'll schedule a time. So they'll say, okay, part of our safari, usually our afternoon safari, just because of the way the time zones work with the United States in particular, they would schedule it. And then what we would do is, for a period of time, maybe a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, we only answer questions from the schools that are watching. So that means that everybody else all over the world, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, wherever they're watching, they can still watch, but we're not going to answer questions from anybody for that period of time other than those schools or that hospital. And and it's really just about giving those kids the opportunity to watch this. But when they send their question in, even if it's just somebody else in their classroom or somebody else in the same hospital, they see little Johnny gets his question answered all the way from Africa.
Yeah.
It's just that amazing moment where those kids are just suddenly super engaged. And to get kids engaged with anything, but particularly wildlife, is such an important part of our future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's how we do it. But also, what's really amazing is that quite a few hospitals around the world, not only with kids, but particularly with kids, if the kids are unfortunately maybe doing chemotherapy or something like that, they found that being on a live safari is the most incredible distraction from pain.
Yeah.
And it lowers cortisol levels, so it reduces stress, and it's just an opportunity to feel better. Basically, it's the healing power of nature.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's so special. Admiral, thank you for the $20. So how did this all start? You co-founded WildEarth, correct, in 2006?
I did. It actually started a long time before that.
Okay.
I founded a company called Africam back in 1998, which was the precursor to WildEarth. And we started off with webcams with a 30-second refreshing JPEG back in 98.
Yeah.
within 6 or 7 days, our webcams our website was the busiest website on the African continent, and it stayed that way for like 6 years.
Wow.
We were doing 48 million page views a month back in 1998, which
that's incredible.
48 million page views a month is huge today, but in '98 it was properly big. And then what happened was, well, we kind of grew really big. I did about 200 webcam installations all over the world. We then began to do our what we call a game drive, which is a Safari, and we started doing those in about '99. We started streaming in late '99. And it kind of grew from there until, of course, the first .com bust occurred, and we went kind of off air for a little bit. And then we kind of struggled along with the webcams for a couple of years. And then I met my amazing, beautiful wife, Emily, and we met on a shoot for National Geographic in the Serengeti in Tanzania.
That's so cool.
She's from England and I'm from South Africa, and we met up on this shoot and then decided, hey, let's start WildEarth up, which we kicked off in 2007 on the 27th of April, which is South Africa's Freedom Day. That's where we had our first democratic elections. And then it was in about 2000, and a lot of struggles from 2007 all the way through to 2014. It was a real challenge. I mean, we were reliant on advertising revenue, which was really difficult, and lots of things along the journey. But to go quickly, in 2014, we did our first deal with National Geographic, and we started delivering live safari television shows to National Geographic Wild in the United States.
Oh, how cool.
And then that relationship kind of grew, and we started doing a lot of digital with them as well, and still doing TV shows. And we eventually then added a new camp in the Masai Mara in Kenya. We're not currently streaming from the Masai Mara, but we're hoping to add it back in very soon, as well as a couple of other things which are kind of exciting, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the next little while. And then we and that's our story really. And it's our business is really primarily about the licensing of television programming to broadcasters, which really pays for what you're seeing.
Yes. Okay. Anonymous of $50 and Dos of $20. They're Dos. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So cool, you guys. So the game drive, is that what we're seeing? I don't know if you have it's what's on your stream right now on Twitch. So that's what we're watching right now.
That's it. We got Steve Falconbridge. He is driving one of our short wheelbase Land Rover safari vehicles around a property called Djuma Game Reserve, which is a part of the Kruger National Park here in South Africa. And you can see that there's a bit of rain at the moment. This is our end of our sort of summer wet season. We've had a lot of rain this year, and he's out there searching for wildlife.
So cool. Hipster with $20 and Botox with $100. Thank you guys so much. So that we've hit our $500 goal. Thank you guys so much. So how many of these drivers do you have, and what are their titles? What do you guys call them, if not drivers?
Well, they've changed names many times over the years. We're currently either calling them guides or naturalists.
Yes.
Cool. Over the years, we've had many hundreds of professional safari guides come in and guide for us. They're all qualified. They're all experienced. You have to be usually FAGASA, the Field Guides Association of South Africa, and there you can see he's got a couple of Impala at the moment in the road there.
Yes, cool.
And yeah, it is cool. Yeah, those we sometimes refer to them as the burgers of the bush.
Oh.
Because unfortunately, Impala are on everyone's menu. Everyone's hunting Impala. But when I say hunting, by the way, I'm talking about wild animals.
Of course.
There's no hunting there at all by human beings. This is a complete preserve. There's absolutely no hunting at all allowed. And it used to be a hunting area, but it's not anymore. And yeah, so we've had a lot of these guys come in, and the guys and girls, a lot of girls that are also qualified guides. And they come along and they drive one of our 3 vehicles that we have at Djuma Game Reserve and go out there in search of wild animals.
Got it. So we got our first question here in chat following a few donations. Bryce with $20 and got it with $10. Thank you. Tito asked, how do they track the animals in the park? Or how do they find, do they look for specific things, I guess, or do they just come across what they come across? How does that work?
Okay, a bit of everything. There's a lot of different aspects to this. I mean, first of all, there's a huge amount of serendipity. We always say that this is clearly unscripted, and we don't know what's around the next corner. We really do not know what is around the next corner. But there are a lot of different techniques that we use for finding animals. The most sort of basic and ancient is the first science, the beginning of science. Is the art of tracking, and here this is actual tracking where we're looking at the footprints of animals, we're seeing where they're moving, and we can track them now. We have a team that are on foot, which you'll be seeing shortly, I'm sure, that are on a bushwalk, and they are trail guides. They have and they can track animals directly that way. We also use, not at the moment, but we have for many years used thermal imaging drones before dawn, because you can't go walking around the African bush at night searching for animals. So if we want to make sure that we can begin our morning safari at dawn with our animal characters, usually leopards or lions, we will use a thermal imaging drone before dawn, which flies around, and we can actually see hotspots. So we can see it's kind of like a military thing, really, I guess. But all of this is really not as important as knowing the animals. So we've been following some of these, particularly the leopards. I've been following them for 22 years now, and know the sort of the whole historical dynasties, and there's very distinct patterns of behavior, and obviously territory. So it's really understanding the animals, knowing them, knowing what to expect is really a key skill in terms of being able to find them.
Okay. We've seen, I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of clips of them coming across a huge variety of flora and fauna in this park. So I've personally seen on this stream: elephants, little mongoose guys, hippos, zebra. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the species that your guides come across on a regular basis? Oh, are those wildebeest right now?
Yeah, there's a wildebeest right there. That is the blue wildebeest, or the brindled gnu. This is a very interesting animal. They're all interesting, but these are super interesting animals. That's a particularly big herd for this area. You can see there's quite a few small ones, like those 2 youngsters there. They're not babies, but they're sub-adult. This is the animal that's so famous as the migration in the Masai Mara and in the Serengeti in East Africa that crosses the Mara River. They're very famous for that. It's great to see a herd like this with so many babies. And this is right near our camp. They live on an area called Quarantine, which is right near our camp in Djuma Game Reserve. But Maya, to answer your question beforehand, in terms of the kinds of animals that we see here, the diversity is completely off the scale.
Okay,
I think
that's awesome.
In terms of mammals, I think there are 50-something mammals, different mammal species that we encounter. There are hundreds of bird species, thousands of insect species, and an immense amount of fauna and flora, plants. truly we encounter an immense array of wildlife. And what is so amazing about this place is that it is unspoiled. So what we're seeing here is the way nature intended it, without the roads, of course.
Right. Yeah.
But in terms of the numbers of animals and the density of those animals, and they can travel a huge area. This is kind of as it's always been.
Yeah, that's so cool. Eskimo with $50, Connor with $35. Thank you so much. So is there any research that you guys do on this preserve, or are they monitoring just to check on how everything's going, or what? Just leave it be?
So again, there's all kinds of different things going on in the reserve, but the main thing that's going on in the reserve is tourism. So ecotourism. These reserves together, because it's a large area of privately owned land that is part of the Greater Kruger National Park. But there are many hyper luxury, and I mean hyper luxury, what we call lodges or camps that are in this area. People are spending thousands and thousands of dollars every single night to be here, and like 6-star lodges. And then these safari vehicles, not the one you're looking at now, that's our one. We don't have any tourists whatsoever on our vehicles, but these vehicles then go out, and the main activity here is tourism, giving people this opportunity to actually be out here with these animals.
Yeah.
In addition to that, there is research taking place, particularly at the moment on the leopards, because this is arguably the highest density of leopards on planet Earth, and a lot of research is being done on them.
That's so cool. And they're they're accustomed to being around people driving in vehicles and stuff like that. I've seen you guys get awfully close to the big cats.
We really do. And remember that these safari vehicles are open as well. So
right.
There's no room on them. We do get super close. The animals are what we call habituated. Now that doesn't mean they're tame. They aren't tame. But it means they're just used to the vehicles. And over multiple generations. So when a mommy leopard, it basically doesn't panic when a safari vehicle comes nearby. That little baby cub, starts learning from the get-go that these vehicles are not a danger, and so they grow up and they just accept them. But yeah, we get super close to them, and that's a big part of what's helping with the research, because this allows really super detailed, animal specific, that's individual animal, not species specific, but individual data to be gathered on the individual animals, which has helped to give some super important insights. For example, we learned through the research done by Panthera that female leopards kind of carve off a bit of their territory for their daughters, because the young males, they'll disperse and they'll leave and they'll never come back to their natal territories. But the daughters, they don't leave. They grow up and then they get a piece of mom's. They kind of inherit a piece of mom's
how
territory.
interesting.
And so as she gets older and older, she might have 5, 6, 7, 8 litters of cubs during her lifetime. But at the end of her lifetime, she'll have this tiny little territory.
I didn't know that. That's so crazy.
That'll be in amongst all of her daughters and maybe granddaughters, territories around it, which is kind of an amazing thing that we wouldn't have known were it not for being able to follow them so closely. How
cool is that? Our my community knows Panthera. We raised money for them on a podcast where we talked to Imogen Cancellara. She's studying snow leopards in High Asia. So we know of that organization. That's so cool. What a small world. Pardon?
I say Panthera are the organization on planet Earth for
big cats.
Conservation of big cats.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Another question we got here from Guy. He asked, what's the most interesting encounter of an animal hunting their guides find during these animal tours? So maybe from your experience, have you seen any cool animal hunting?
Yeah, sure, a lot. We really have. we've well, so much. You know, you got to realize that we're doing 3 hour safaris every single day.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we get up to around 5-6 safari vehicles out in 2-3 countries at a time. So we've seen a lot of things. I think probably one of the more interesting events that I can think of is that we were broadcasting live from a balloon that was floating over the Masai Mara in Kenya, and as the balloon was floating over the Mara River, we saw a single zebra. I would normally say zebra, but I'm going to say zebra.
Okay. Either's fine.
We saw this zebra jump into the river and cross the Mara River. And as it was crossing the Mara River, this crocodile was coming behind it at like full speed. And we were all like saying, "Go zebra, go zebra!" And the zebra got to the edge of the water as the crocodile got there, and the zebra jumped out and got away. And then as the zebra came up the bank, and all the time the balloon is kind of floating slowly over this whole scene, and the zebra runs up the bank, and as it runs up the bank, there is a lioness who jumps on and takes this poor zebra out.
Oh my gosh.
With her friend, another lioness comes along and joins her. And we just thought, it's crazy. Here's the zebra, and it's managed to just get across in front of that crocodile, and then it gets taken up by the lioness. Wow. Very exciting, but also always sad always sad. But it's nature. It's how it all works.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about you guys doing a live broadcast is people really get to see it all. It's so special.
It does.
Raptor at $5 said, "This is so cool, especially for being able to watch for free on Twitch." Good. I'm glad you think so. I also think that. Another question we got, LX asked, have they encountered any extremely rare animals there?
Yes, we have. We've encountered pangolin a few times.
Oh, that's so cool.
Like a little armadillo, for those of you that don't know, it's a super rare animal. Unfortunately, it's the most traded mammal on Earth. Its scales are used for treating all manner of things, from hangovers to various ailments, which is unfortunate. They're also eaten quite extensively in various parts of the world. And so to see a pangolin is a very rare and very special experience. There are some people who spend many years out there in the bush and they literally never see a pangolin. What's kind of a little bit of a challenge is that on one particular occasion, I remember Tristan, not Steve, but another one of our guides, Tristan, was in the Masai Mara in Kenya, and he was watching a lion playing with a pangolin. Now, the pangolin, when the lion gets the pangolin, it kind of rolls into a ball to protect itself. And so the lion can't really, get its teeth in, it can't bite it or anything. And we were talking about it afterwards and saying that, we have a policy of non-intervention. So we will never intervene in what's happening in nature. But you kind of wonder, hey, this is such a rare animal, to see a lion playing with it.
Yeah.
The lion doesn't realize how serious that game is.
Right.
We didn't do anything, but it kind of makes you wonder, at what point do we need to say to the lion, hey buddy, you need to move on and go
play with something else, please. Right. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Floppy with $20, thank you so much. He put an F in the chat for the zebra. And then Botox with $5 asked, what's the biggest bird there?
Biggest bird is the ostrich.
Cool.
So that's the biggest bird on Earth. It's flightless, can't fly. We don't see them very often here on Djuma Game Reserve. They have been seen there, but they're not commonly seen there. Sometimes we would see them more out towards the east, Cheetah Plains, and that sort of an area. They're fairly common out in the Masai Mara, which is just big open plains, because that's what they prefer. They prefer big open areas rather than what we call, this is a woodland savanna that we're driving through right now, where, as you can see, it's kind of low-level forest and much denser, not really ostrich country.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned you were streaming from a balloon.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys also do dives live, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. We did well. First of all, that's my real passion.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm wildlife. Don't get me wrong, and I'm there's nothing wrong with an African safari. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But my real passion is the ocean, and that was my first career. So I was a scuba diving instructor and traveled around the world. Very lucky to do that. And that was my first passion. So anyway, for many years now, I've wanted to take the same concept that we're doing on land with safaris. So sorry, I'm going to interrupt quickly. You can see Steve is now tracking. So he stopped his safari.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what he had there. I'll unmute so they can hear him for a second here. See what he's doing.
See what he's doing. I can't hear him, so I'll go quiet.
Oh, it's raining a little bit, huh?
Leopards come in and sprayed here.
It is. I better not unmute him because otherwise then you're going to hear the feedback on that.
Very hard to ascertain the freshness of this with the amount of rain we just had.
He's just saying it's hard to tell how fresh it is because of the rain. Random tip $10 said, it's so awesome the access you bring to environmental specialists. You have one of the most unique channels I've come across. Thank you so much. And then I'll get to this question later. And Amara with $77 said, awesome stream. SMK with $20. Thank you guys so much. So go ahead and continue what you were talking about him
Sure,
tracking.
So what he's doing now is he's tracking. I don't know what he's tracking. He's obviously seen something. Could be a leopard. We're always looking for leopards. Leopards are our kind of we're all very passionate. All of our viewers are very passionate about all the individual leopards.
Oh, that's so cool.
Let's see what develops as the morning continues.
Okay.
But back to the scuba diving aspect of it. So it's always been something I've wanted to do, which is to figure out how we can really apply the same approach to, or something similar to the ocean, and increase people's awareness and access to the ocean. We did a little crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter back in 2018 and spent 4 months doing 2 live dives every single day in Grand Cayman in the Caribbean.
Oh, how cool.
It was cool. You can search for it. All those dives are recorded. Just search for Dive Live. You'll find it on YouTube. All those dives are there. And what was kind of cool is we had a marine biologist underwater with a full face mask on, so they could talk from underwater. And then we had another marine biologist on the surface who was watching, and the two of them could hear each other. And then the marine biologist on the surface would be sitting there with an iPad and taking questions from the viewers and then passing those along. So in conversation with the marine biologist underwater.
Oh, that's so brilliant.
And now that we've got another project that we've been working on, which is pretty close to completion, is we've built a remotely operated vehicle that can go down to like 12, 13, 1400 feet underwater. And stream back live in 4K.
That's much deeper than I expected possible. Yeah, that's incredible.
A human being just can't go down there, but that's where the bulk of the unexplored nature on planet Earth is. And so it's our dream to open up the deep ocean.
Yes.
And make it available for free to people so that they can watch that and enjoy the deep ocean as well.
So that's a project that's in the works for you guys?
That is.
That is so cool. That Twitch would eat that up and all the other platforms, I'm sure. I'll go back to Random because you donated a question, so those ones get priority. He asked, what animal does he think are the most at risk for extinction, specifically from climate change and or poaching? So we'll stick to Kruger or the areas that the animals that you guys see. Hipster, thank you for the $12.
So I mean, let's first deal with the most contentious one, which is poaching. You'd think that you'd think climate change would be more contentious, but down here, poaching is much more of a contentious issue.
Okay.
There has been a large amount of poaching of rhino over the past several years. which has definitely decimated the population. It has definitely reduced the population. There's been a lot of emotion and a lot has been said about it. A lot of people have said that if this continues, then we are at risk of losing rhinos to extinction. I'm not sure that that's our biggest risk. I'm not trying to downplay it or in any way minimize the importance of that, but I do think that there are other situations from a poaching point of view that in this area, like I mentioned earlier, pangolins being one of them, that is quite serious, very serious. But also other lesser well-known animals are affected here. I've gone blank on its name, which is ridiculous. The ground hornbill, which is a very, very big hornbill bird, is killed for its what we call muti value, which is basically the traditional medicine value of the animal, as well as vultures. So what often happens is that farmers will poison carcasses in order to reduce the number of jackals. And that has a huge negative impact on the vultures. It can just kill like hundreds of vultures in one go. So those on sort of your poaching or associated kind of problems. From a climate change perspective, in this particular area, the animals that are at risk of extinction, I'm not sure that I actually even really know how to answer that question. And I think that what, without knowing the specifics and not being a biologist myself, I would say that you probably find that what we'll discover in time is that the change in the climate has an impact at the insect level massively. And the sad thing about that is that we don't even know what we've got, let alone what we're losing. And that's kind of a crazy situation. So the big impact of climate change that we're seeing here in Southern Africa is that we've got an increasing effect in the form of drought. So even though at the moment what we've got is we've had a super high rainfall year, which has been great because we've had 7 years of drought. But I think over the coming decades, that's our risk is increasing levels of drought caused by climate change, and that in turn is going to have all kinds of effects on the environment.
Got it. Okay. Sniper with $10, Knight with $1, Leonard with $10. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I love that you talked about insects. I got to get an entomologist on the podcast. We've done a podcast with Save the Rhino, and we've done one with American Eagle Foundation for vulture awareness, so they know a little bit about that, but that's cool. So a few other questions that have come in here. Tofa and Guy kind of asked the same question. They asked how big is the reserve? I'm not sure if you said that already.
So it's kind of interesting. So first of all, fencing is a crucial part of conservation down here in South Africa. And I understand that in the United States, it's a completely different story. It's a very, very different conservation situation. So basically, the Greater Kruger National Park itself, I don't know the exact size, but it's bigger than the country of Israel.
Okay.
I think it's bigger than Ireland or something. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably
Huge.
wrong about that. It's really big.
Okay.
And it's ultimately fenced, but within that, there is a group of private reserves called the Sabi Sand Wildtuin, which is the Afrikaans word for wildlife park. But that has about, I think, 35 individual landowners that are part of that, and we in turn are on one of those, which is called Djuma Game Reserve, which is in turn itself probably the Djuma Game Reserve can move over an area of about 6,000 hectares, which I think is about 15,000 acres.
Wow.
And then we operate on a portion of that, which is called Western Gari. Now, the animals can move around freely. So the animals are moving around all freely. And we're traversing over an area of 1,200 hectares, which in turn is about 2,400. It's about 3,000 acres of land that we're traversing over.
Okay, very cool. Space Voyage just asked in chat, why are fences such a big deal?
Fences are crucial because we're dealing with some really big and potentially dangerous animals in the form of lions, elephant, buffalo, rhinos, and the fences are critical in order to keep the people and the animals separate. Because if these animals, right on the boundaries here of this massive reserve, live millions of people, and what happens is that and they're living right up to the fences, and so if there weren't fences, what would be happening is we'd be having herds of elephants walking all over the place and going into people's properties and eating their produce. And very quickly you have human-animal conflict, and when humans and animals enter into a conflict, it is always the humans that win. And so these fences, while there are obvious negatives, for one thing, the natural migration paths are disrupted. The truth is that these islands of conservation only work if we can keep the animals in them and away from the people.
Right. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Saw a couple people in chat ask if this drive is live. Yes, this is. We're talking to WildEarth for those of you who are just tuning in right now. This is their live sunrise safari, so they're in South Africa, and I'm talking to Graham Wallington. He's a co-founder. And we've raised $831. Thank you, Dan, for that donation also. So appreciated, you guys. Thank you so much. Another question that we have here, Kai asked, how much have they looked into streaming from drones, or have you guys looked into that? I know in the video we saw you guys using them.
Yeah, we've done a lot of streaming from drones, both during the day and at night. We've used a lot of different kinds of drones to do that. I think when we first started doing it 4 or 5 years ago, it was kind of a big novelty. Drones had just kind of come along, and just being able to see from the air over Africa in real time was really quite special. Drones are, I guess there's lots to say about drones, but I mean, I think that the two important things are that drones really are super useful at night with the thermal imaging cameras, because it's really the only way we can find animals at night, at scale, so to speak. But the other thing is that they're really disturbing for animals, particularly elephant, because a drone sounds like a swarm of bees, and elephants are terrified of bees. They are terrified of bees.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so if you fly a drone near, you're just stressing the crap out. Sorry, excuse me.
No worries at all. It's fine.
It's totally inappropriate. I mean, it really is, and we're not going to do that. And so we help develop some of the rules around how to use drones with animals. And the crucial thing is you got to have a zoom lens, and you got to have that drone, standing way back and then zooming down on those animals.
Yeah.
Particularly elephants, because otherwise you're just stressing them out, and it's not cool. So we've had to be really careful with drones and make sure that we're not buzzing the wildlife.
Okay, very cool. That's a good question. You guys have had a lot of really good questions. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Earthbound with $169. It's an insane donation and not the first for tonight. Thank you so much. I don't know if it is showed up on stream, but Earthbound, thank you so much. Let's see what I guess so. Tofa a while ago asked, I'm going to rephrase his question a little bit, but asked if there's been any conflict between guides and wildlife.
Yeah, there's been conflict between guides and wildlife. Not much, thankfully, gratefully. But at the end of the day, these are wild animals. I could think of the one that comes to mind straight away is quite a number of years ago now. I'm not even sure exactly how many, maybe 5 years ago, maybe more. One of our guides, Mark Weiner, he was in a sighting with a small breeding herd of elephants, and I don't know. I mean, we've discussed it endlessly. We're not exactly sure what happened, but this elephant matriarch, the female, the leader of this herd, she must have felt threatened. She must have, I don't exactly know what it was, but she came in, she charged, and she put her 2 tusks through the vehicle. One went directly behind Mark's back, so it came through the side of the car, and it went just behind his seat. And the other one went in front of the knee of the camera operator that's sitting at the back of the vehicle.
Oh, how lucky.
No one was hurt, but to this day we've got patches on the side of that car where those 2 tusks went straight through.
That is terrifying.
But most of the interaction that occurs is small stuff. Like I remember one camera operator had a rose beetle fly into his ear while out on safari at night. There was just so many insects around. This rose beetle went in, and then it kind of crawled down his ear right up against his eardrum and freaked him completely out, you can imagine. Thankfully, there was a doctor in camp who was able to fish it out with a piece of wire. So sometimes the interaction...
goodness. Oh, what a nightmare. Oh my gosh.
It doesn't always have to be the big stuff, and then also it doesn't always have to be dangerous. So I remember one time we were sitting around the campfire at night, and just chatting, and one of the leopards that we knew well, unfortunately she's gone. Her name was Karula, and I've known her whole life, but and anyway, Karula came along, and she was just like 20-30 feet away from us, maybe even not that far. She wasn't even that far. It was like 15 feet away. And she came along and walked past us, and then went to the washing line, pulled the washing off the line, and rolled around on it on the floor.
Oh.
And so you get all kinds of interaction with the wildlife.
Yeah, that's awesome. Danny tipped $13. Danny, thank you so much. This is my editor. And asked, in addition to deep ocean diving streams, are there any other aspirations you have for the reserve in terms of streaming?
On this particular reserve, I think that on this particular reserve, do I have any further aspirations? I've been broadcasting for 22 years from the game reserve, and we have tried all manner of things.
I'm sure.
I mean, we really have tried so many different things. I think that for us, the big thing for WildEarth is our vision and our mission now is to actually expand out over the whole world. So our real vision is to be able to deliver a 24-hour-a-day live wildlife channel where we've got people contributing live from everywhere in the world, following animal characters from jaguars in the Pantanal to a fox in downtown London.
How cool.
And that's really what we want to do, is follow individual animals, because Maya, the key thing that my whole passion and our whole mission is about connecting people to nature. And the way we figured to do that is that you can take people on a safari or a walk now in the bush, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But what really works, what captures people, what really gets them going, is where we keep visiting the same animals, and people learn the names of those. And then what they do is, our job is to give people insights into the individual animals' lives. Because when somebody recognizes suddenly that they see that animal not as just an elephant or just as a leopard, but they see it as an individual being, that is the moment where empathy occurs. That's the moment where somebody actually connects with an individual animal and its personal challenges and opportunities, that's where the magic happens. And so we want to do that on a global scale.
That's beautiful. Like Bean, exactly. Yeah, you guys are so right. I've been on Twitch for about a year. I rehabilitated a red-tailed hawk on my stream, and my whole community just fell in love with this bird, and subsequently fell in love with red-tailed hawks as a species. So we know about how powerful that can be. That's so cool. And you worded that so beautifully. We have a couple more questions here, and then I think we'll get to wrapping up. Kai, I guess this is Kai's second question. He asked, have they encountered any illegal poachers on the reserve?
No, we haven't. Not directly, but then we wouldn't. So, you know, there are anti-poaching teams that are 100% focused on finding and capturing poachers and preventing them from entering the reserve. Mm-hmm. Sadly, I'd love to say that there is no poaching, but there is.
Yeah.
And so that is a concern. And I'm not here to defend poachers at all, but it is important for everybody to understand that these people, you know, are oftentimes, you know, poaching for subsistence. They're poaching to feed their families. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about the rhino poaching, which is all about money. I'm saying that it's important for us to all recognize that you know, people have been living in this over here for thousands of years, and you know, what we call poaching today used to be called hunting, and
right.
How people fed themselves. And so it's really important that we remain empathetic to mm-hmm. understanding that there are poor people who rely upon nature to feed their families.
It's interesting that you bring that up. My sister's watching right now. Hello. She spent a year in Ghana, or I'm not sure if this was in Ghana or her trip to Rwanda, but she called me one day saying that they hunt bushmeat all the time, and she was trying to tell me about this animal that she saw. Here, she's texting me now. It was in Ghana. Okay. She was telling me about this animal that someone hunted and was saying that they were going to eat, and she was describing it to me, and she was like, it was like a reptile, but it was like an anteater, and I've never seen it before, and I didn't know what it was. Pangolin. Yeah, unfortunately. But very typical for them, and you know, it wasn't a second thought about whether or not that or about the conservation status of that animal, right? It was that it was a target, and they need to eat. So yeah, we don't talk about that side of it often. It's super unfortunate, but very real. So
yeah, I mean it's such a complicated problem, but I mean, you got to remember that at the end of the day, these areas are only going to be conserved if the communities surrounding them benefit from those areas.
Right.
And you know, we've just got to recognize that we've got to find a way for wildlife to be able to live with people, and recognize that we can't just have a black and white solution to this problem. It's got to be, we've got to recognize that pangolins and rhinos, okay, so we can't kill them. They're endangered. They're in big trouble. But some of the game, you know, some of the animals are going to need to be hunted in order for these people to be able to understand why this area needs to be conserved. Mm-hmm. And so finding that balance is such a difficult thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Tavian with $5, Locke with $1. We're at $1,020.18.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much, everybody that donated. There's one more question here from Remy. I'll go ahead, and he asked, are they working with Twitch to become a partner, or is it difficult because of the multiple platform streaming?
That is correct. We've reached a point where we could be a partner.
Yeah.
But in order to be a partner would mean that we would need to stream exclusively to Twitch.
Right.
And the thing of it is that Twitch is an amazing audience, but it's a very different audience to the audience that we have on YouTube or Facebook or Periscope.
Absolutely.
And these different communities are looking for different things, and we don't really want to cut off any specific community. And we're also realizing it's not really viable to be able to generate enough money out of any of these platforms to be able to produce the content that we're producing at the quality that we're producing it.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, for us to, ultimately the only way we can keep on doing this reliably is by getting customers, television customers that we can stream to.
Mm-hmm.
And really what we're doing online, whether it's Twitch or YouTube, is really more about just trying to share nature. It isn't going to be able to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to kind of find a balance again there. So probably not about to become a partner on Twitch.
Okay. I agree with that. I think that's probably a good move. You guys have a pretty incredible reach. You're everywhere online, which is awesome. So you guys, thank you so much for all the questions. The podcasts are always the best when you guys have good questions like that. It makes it go a lot smoother. Having the stream on here was so cool also. And I love that you were able to see that and tell us a little bit about what we were seeing. That was really special. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, thank you. Thank you not only for the podcast, but for doing such an amazing podcast.
Yeah.
And really, giving people an opportunity to really take a deeper dive in the Twitch community. I think what you're doing is amazing. I think it's so important. I hope that we'll see more people, joining Twitch on the conservation side of things.
Me too.
So Maya, thank you for all that you do, and keep on going. Don't give up.
Thank you.
And anytime you want to work with us on it, you're welcome. And a big invite, Maya. You are welcome to come and stay in our camp whenever you want. Get on one of our safari vehicles and do your show right there in Africa.
I will absolutely be in touch. I was thinking about this before the podcast. I was like, how do I word when working with them in the future? I would love to. So I'll be in touch. They would love that. They would love that. Thank you so much for your time. It was so nice to meet you. We will definitely look forward to your developments. The underwater stuff sounds brilliant. You guys are on my auto host, so my stream sees your stream all the time. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for all the Conservation Cast viewers and your questions, and above all, your donations.
Yes.
I promise you that will help us to keep on doing what we do and to share nature with the whole world, and particularly the kids.
Yeah, Dionysus finished us off with $8, so we're at $1,030, and that went straight to them. You guys the PayPal was hooked up to them this time. Oh, Kev with $20, so $1,050 has gone straight to them tonight. So thank you for helping them continue to do what they're doing. It's brilliant. And I'll be in touch with you for sure. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Cheers,
all right.
everybody.
All right, bye. Kev with $20. Saito with the caps lock spam in the live question Google Doc. Thank you very much. Anyone want to go to South Africa? I mean, holy cow. That's insane. That would be insane. My sister's texting me. Go to South Africa. She said pog you. She texted me pog you. Erica. She's reading chat. Celeron with $20. $1,070. Boys, thank you so much for the donations today. You guys are nuts. There are a couple more things before we end the stream today. What a cool podcast also. What a cool organization. Can you guys believe what they're doing? Can you believe that folks in Austin can't even go to a Walmart without effing? And they're out in Kruger National Park with that kind of quality? I mean, they're incredible. We have a lot to learn from them. Definitely one of my favorite streams. That was a good podcast. He's brilliant. He was really, really cool. And they have insane equipment too. True. Damn, I missed a lot. This was awesome. There is a VOD that I will talk more about that in a second. But right now, we're going to do a quiz. Did you get your Peepo G's out in time? Is everybody ready? I have to pick 5 questions. Saito wrote up some questions. Hearts in chat for Saito, again, like every podcast. Really helped out with the research, helped out with the initial communication, and with these questions. He is my lifeline on these podcasts. There are a lot of things that I would not be able to do without him, so thank you so much. Speaking of Saito, I need to get in a call with him quickly. Floppy with $30. $1,099.99, you cheeky. So close. I'm gonna need to get in a call with Saito for just 1 second because I have to set up this quiz, and you guys know how I am with technology. It's gonna take me a quick minute, and then I will tell you how to participate in the quiz, and this is the first time it's happened. It's gonna be scuffed, but in the dance game. But we're gonna see what we can do here, okay? Hold. But don't pause, Champ. Breathe. Okay, just give me a second. Thanks, Spoon, for the $5.01. Again. boys, I messed it up and I have to start over. Okay, this is gonna take a second, I'm sorry. Again.